CCS Nashaya, Ayaslak, Gunesquig, Tanitinat Musqueam. La Kusanashuanet, Kiopalano, Equaltimoto, Gus Helixtoch, the Huinas, Emignatin, Gus we the Sal Tomokat Musqueam. Sliquans Theatala, Helixom, Setsism to native swallow, it's Theatala, High Tap, I was Hajka. Thank you. I'm Larry Grant. I'm from Musqueam, the First Nation, and my Musqueam name is Sayatlak, and my Chinese name is Hong Lai Hing, and I'm the son of Hong Tim Hing, who comes from Guangdong province in China, and my mother is Agnes Grant, and she's the daughter of Seymour Grant, and that's my grandfather. And that's where I come from. This is a little bit of my life story. My dad came over from China probably around 1920. He was born around 1906, and he was in his teens when he came over. And our mother's born the same year, 1906. And when Dad used to be working on the farm, he would see this lady, this young woman walking by all the time, and noticed that she was never with a male companion. So one year he made up his mind to go find out about her, and he came down to our grandfather's house and spoke with my grandparents and found out that she didn't have a husband and didn't have a boyfriend, and asked if he could see her. And that's basically how they got together. And it's interesting too, because the Indian Act of the day didn't allow non-Indians to be around Indian women on the reserve. So they were prohibited from doing that. So, but they got together anyways, and out of that came 4 children. Whether they lived together or not wasn't really the issue of being together. They had 4 children anyways, and that I'm one of them. I'm the second son, number 2 son. As my whole life is number 2. I'm still number 2 because number 1's still alive. And that's I know that's how they used to refer to me as. He's the number 2 son. The oldest child of the first wife basically inherits everything. And in Dad's culture, it was the same way. The oldest son would inherit everything that the father owned if the father passed away. And so that was the start of my life as I come to my senses, in the sense of I'm about 8 or 9 years old, and I'm asking about different ceremonial things in our Musqueam culture. And Mom would say, well, that's you're going to have to be nice to your older brother. He's the one that's going to be in control of everything. So that gives me a little incentive to be on my own, which I think was a good thing for me, and knowing that I would never inherit anything without my brother allowing me to have it. And he's a good brother. He's a very sharing brother. But it was, the concept in your mind is, oh, I'm never going to be number 1 in our family, always number 2. So that was real eye-opener. So that allowed me to think about my future. What am I going to be? I'm never going to own anything of our dad's except maybe the farm, and I didn't want to be a farmer because I saw how hard they had to work 24/7 during harvest and planting time, maybe 20 hours a day. And I said, well, I'm a little too lazy for that. I need to get into something like a trade. It took me a long time to get out of high school. It took me about 14 years, 12, 14, 15 years. The first two years I spent in kindergarten, and that's my graduation picture from the Chinese Presbyterian kindergarten. And that was my first experience. First 2 years of experience in schooling, but also my first 2 years of experience what I term today as a foster child. We were boarded out, my older brother and myself, right across the street on Kiefer Street, right across the street from the church, to a Chinese couple. And I got to experience what it was like to not be part of a family, not actually belonging to that family. There were certain things that were not accorded to us that the children of that family were able to do, and I always felt it was unfair, but that was my experience. I used to ask, why can't we go to school with our cousins? You know, they're going to Mission City. They're going to St. Mary's at Mission. Why can't we go? We're Indians just like our cousins. And Mama said, no, the government says you're Chinese, so you can't go. You don't belong in the Indian school. Okay? So that was my first not belonging, and the second not belonging was being boarded out to a Chinese couple. Not fully belonging to family. So that's really something, some really good experience. If you come out of there with positive thoughts about, yeah, I guess things were okay. They made, not quite belonging makes you either strive or quit. So we didn't quit. And that's the part that I think was really good for us. And my grandfather, Seymour Grant, as you see here, he's on the right side of this picture. He was a logging contractor, probably in his midlife, and helped to log out Point Grey. This whole area over to Jericho Beach. So our grandfather helped to clear cut Vancouver because the political scene had changed. The power was no longer with the Aboriginal people, but it was with the new settlers. So he was actually quite well off, in my understanding. But being well off in an Aboriginal sense is quite different from being well off in a Western sense. Because I used to ask my mom if our grandpa was so rich and so well off and so well respected in the Aboriginal communities for the things he did as an Aboriginal person, why is it that we're so poor financially? I said, well, your grandfather gave everything away. And he only kept things that he needed to maintain his life. So it was a new start for our family. And I said, well, it's quite a different thing. So It's taken me my whole life to understand it. It's not how much stuff you accumulate and keep, it's how much you share. And I think that's why I'm here today, to share my story with the world, if need to be, and share our experiences as half Chinese, half Indian children in today's society. And I hope my sharing is well received.